Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. This is your host, Minette Lawrence, coming to you live from Best 100 FM studios in Kingston. And I am so pleased to be with you this morning, June 28th, 2022, also the day on which Big Sister Mitzi was born. So happy birthday, Mitzi. I long to see you, please. I hope you're listening. It is always the case that families sleep late in the morning. But I'm grateful to those who have joined already on air. I have Toronto in the house lighting some fire. I wonder why. Oh, he says no sleep from yesterday. You know what? There's something in Jamaica that would take care of that. There's plenty of it in Canada too. Nonetheless, welcome, Conrad. Sorry you didn't get to sleep. I hope I won't keep you too disturbed this morning. We have some issues to talk through, which afterwards, hopefully, you'll feel so rested and relieved in your mind that sleep will be inevitable. But thank you to those who also join us on air. We know that in the early morning hours, there are plenty other things you could do than be listening to the radio, but you choose to listen to us. And for that, we are most grateful. Good morning to my crew in the house, Mr. Engineer. I tell you, sometimes in the morning, I forget that I'm supposed to start speaking because I get caught up with the music. And the producer, I have to say, ready, Minette? We're ready for you this morning. Producer, Young Eden, good morning and welcome. Pastor Percival, you will hear his voice in a moment, I'm sure. He's on his way. Pastor Percy, like many Jamaican parents, have to do all kinds of multiple duties, chauffeur work in the morning, because he does carry a full, I tell you, it is impressive what that man does. By the time he gets here, he has done at least 3 different jobs. So we bless God that he makes time to be a part of the Morning Connection. What's on my mind this morning woke me up so early. A couple of reasons why this is a very thoughtful time for Jamaicans, and we cannot miss the opportunity when things require deep thought. We can't miss the opportunity to spend the necessary time just reflecting and taking some decisions, and also making sure that we have a firm understanding of what's going on around us so we can be a voice of encouragement to others. So you know that is the whole purpose of the morning connection, to motivate, to inspire, and to strengthen you. This is a really, really tough time in the life of our nation. And it's not just about the economics of it, quite honestly. It is more about what's happening in the head, our ability to withstand the pressures that are crowding on us, and not just to withstand them, but also to grow, to use them to give us lift. You remember we spoke about how we can use adversity to overcome, and not just to overcome, but to soar and find new heights. It's a time when we've got to take a good stock of what's around us, pile it up, and let it be the source of great lift. I came in this morning and there's an announcement that I want to make, and I think I will just refer to it several times throughout the morning. This is a Stop the Crime and Violence March and Rally. It is scheduled to be on Wednesday, June 29th, that is tomorrow. It starts at 10 a.m. at St. William's Grant Park, and it takes you all the way up to Nelson Mandela Park in Halfway Tree. The rally starts from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. So first there's the march, which starts at 10 a.m. from St. William's Grant Park, and it goes right up to Nelson Mandela Park. And there will be a rally starting from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The speakers at this rally include Muta Baruka, Reverend Bishop Rowan Edwards, Attorney at Law Bert Samuels, Attorney at Law Miguel Lorne, Nadia Merritt, Tommy Cowan, Denise Isis Miller, Sharon Chambers, and someone who goes by the name Razzle Dazzle. There will be performances by Little John. This says Tristan Palmer, but is it Tristan Palmer? Is Tristan, Trston? By Mr. Palmer, no relative of mine as far as I know. Admiral Bailey, Peter Metro, Nature Ellis, Sativa the Black One, I hope that's one name, and Althea Hewitt and Isha Bell. So lots of performers, it seems. Little John, Mr. Palmer, not Adija, Tristan, Admiral Bailey, Peter Metro, Nature Ellis, Sativa, the Black One. I hope that's a complete name. Forgive me in case it is Sativa D and then somebody else named Black One. Sometimes the punctuation doesn't assist, and I don't know these persons. But there will be Althea Hewitt and Isha Bell. And all of this is going to be hosted by Big Stone. I'm just sharing the information. What's important is that Jamaicans are trying to move something forward to show their disgust and their protest against crime and violence in a march and a rally. The march starts at 10 a.m. It goes up to St. William's Grand Park. It starts at St. William's Grand Park, goes to Mandela Park, and at 1 p.m., there will be a rally that will continue up to 6 p.m. There'll be speakers, Muta Baruka, Reverend Bishop Rowan Edwards, two attorneys at law, Bert Samuels being one of them, Miguel Lorne. I'm not sure if Nadia Merritt is also an attorney, but I know for sure Tommy Cowan is not. So Tommy Cowan, Denise Miller, Isis Miller, Sharon Chambers, and someone by the name of Razzle Dazzle. All of that, Pastor, I have just shared while waiting for you to join me. Good morning.
Morning.
Well, that morning is not the one I'm accustomed to. Please take that back. Put that right back wherever it's coming from.
I must put it right back where it's coming from. Yes.
And take out the morning.
Morning.
Take out the morning. That's I was busy talking up the many jobs that you accomplished before you get here. Looked like one of them didn't pay you well. They didn't tip you. The chauffeur didn't get a tip.
No, the chauffeur never got a tip this morning. Yeah, morning.
Not even a hug, which is the tip that parents get. Although after a certain age, you have to fight for it.
That's true, you know.
I know. I have to
That's
wrestle
true,
my son to get a hug, and he's looking very puzzled.
You're wrestling him to get a hug.
To wrestle him, yeah.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, but some of the times out of the blue that happens.
Oh, you just get a hug thrown at you.
Daddy,
Yeah.
Daddy, give me a hug.
And I know you cry.
I don't cry.
What, privately your eyes fill with tears?
No, I don't cry. When I cry, I will tell you. But it is good to be alive today. Good morning to our viewers. And good morning to those who are listening with us online. And good morning to Eden. How are you, Eden?
I had to ask her if you never called her yesterday.
Why yesterday? You know, I've been, as I pointed out to you, what was happening with my pressure. It's going up and down, up and down.
It's down today?
No, it's not. It went down yesterday, and my wife said, go back, go sleep. So when I leave here, I just go to take to my bed, trying to see what it is and to stabilize it. But I'm good otherwise. So she constantly says to me, how is it? And I'm saying, all right. So we check it because I'm believing that it is dealt with in a way by Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals me. So I am grateful that I'm up and about. Morning, Mr. Engineer. Morning, Mr. Producer. I heard a wonderful day yesterday. Hallelujah. We're declaring the things that are not as though they are. Had a wonderful day yesterday.
You can't catch us by surprise like that, you know.
No,
Where did he have the wonderful day?
Well,
Are we talking about court?
yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Plenty to
expecting
say
for
about
you
court.
guys. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it might be that expectancy that is driving up your blood pressure. Many pregnant women get high blood pressure, you know, when they reach full term.
It's true. Eden beds with laugh.
All right, this is break time.
People, are you listening? If you choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk. Heed the warning.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Yeah. Morning. Yes.
So, welcome back. We have some rather uncomfortable things to talk about this morning. It has transpired that Pastor Percival and I were meditating, reflecting on the same things, though we were apart. And I can tell you, Percy, it was happening with producer and myself also, together but not speaking about it. but being troubled by it. One of our callers yesterday spoke about, he posed a question. He said, where was God? Young woman, throat slashed, 4 children, down to a, 23-month-old baby? Throat slashed. If you have a vivid imagination, you can see exactly what is transpiring in that house when a human being, a young man himself of fairly tender years, armed himself with a sharpened knife, stood over the body of a woman who had been good, kind to him, had taken him into her home, entered the room with sleeping children, unsuspecting whatever was about to transpire. When you imagine it, I know that all of us see only the hand and the knife. We don't look at the face, or maybe we'll see the back of the perpetrator. We don't enter into his shoes, because to all of us, it is so unspeakable that we think that could never be us. Yet, that is where we need to stand. We have to stand in the shoes of the man who is carrying out these atrocious activities. It is only when we stand in his shoes that we can even ask the question, where is God in all of this? We like to be on the side of right. We like to be on the side of the victim. We like to be on the side of the survivor. We don't associate ourselves with the actor, the main person who is doing these terrible things. Yet that is who we are. Make no mistake about it. We are as responsible for what that young man did as he is. In fact, sometimes we are even more responsible, because who he is and the actions he pursues, those are often creatures of our creation. We are the ones who watch small children suffer and struggle. Sometimes we are the ones who impose suffering and hardship on young people. And when they grow up to be monsters, we try to separate ourselves from them. And then we have the temerity to say, where is God? And if God were other than of the character that he has displayed consistently throughout time, he would deal with us harshly, every one of us who dare to raise that question, failing to study, failing to train ourselves to be better humans, better individuals, to be better brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, to be better co-venturers, sojourners, whatever it is. When you journey with a man and you see his struggles and you have to share a slice of bread, or you have to sit and be hungry together but not kill each other. We don't want to make that investment in ourselves, but we want God to fix it. The same God who created and put us here and gave us certain instructions that we disobey as flagrantly as we choose. When it becomes overwhelming or too terrible, we want to close our eyes and pretend that we have no part in it, and it's his job to fix it. We're out of order, you know. Because if we, in our human endeavors, when we raise our children and we invest everything that we can in them, and we see them turn and raise their hand against us, if some neighbor did say, but where's the parent for that child? We would be explaining without fail how good we were to the child, how much the child had every advantage, and how much we are not responsible for what he has become. Yet we want the Almighty God to fix our crap. We want him to step in and make right something that we have every authority and every ability to do. I came into studio this morning and someone had left Sunday's edition of the Observer. And one of the story in it is a recall of a gruesome beheading of a disabled man. Two women who had been in charge of their brother's care. He had suffered a head injury in a motor vehicle accident, and this is like 2018. The two sisters, well, one came home and found bloody footsteps around her house, stepped inside, and her brother's body, decapitated body, was on the floor with the blood-covered head beside it. A disabled man living in a home, in a house, in bed. Someone had gone in and severed his head and left it there on the floor for two young women to find. And you can only just thank God that the girls were not there when that intruder stepped in. The sister says it has taken years. She has only just now kind of been able to sleep. And for a time, they had to remain living in the same house. And she details how after the body had been taken, she and her sister had to clean up the blood. Not even neighbors to help, not the police or any kind of cleanup service. I thought we had cleanup service. I didn't think that citizens had to clean up the bloody remains after crime has been committed in their home. The two girls, young girls, had to wash out their brother's blood. And that was in 2018 or thereabouts. Every year, every 2 months, sometimes now every day, there is an account of something truly horrific that is done in this country by the same people who today ask, where is God? So, I want us to talk about the character of God. Who is God to us? Not an ATM that you just press when you want money. Not some kind of magician who will just appear and supernaturally clean up the mess that we make when he has given us every opportunity to do right by each other. He's merciful, and he's merciful to all of us. And can I tell you, he is especially merciful to the young man with the knife in his hands.
Some people cannot.
He's filled with love. So much love that even when a man is bent on doing something terrible to someone else, he will take the mind and the consciousness of the victim and secure it so that the suffering is either minimized or completely eliminated. Many times we torture ourselves imagining what the person is going through. Well, I can tell you, as someone who has survived trauma, that you don't even remember what happened sometimes. You come through it and you say, boy, I don't know how. Persons looking on are saying, how did you manage? How did you? And you're kind of stuttering and saying, well, I don't know. I just know. He carries victims. And while he's carrying the victim, he's looking at the perpetrator and he's saying, you have the ability to turn, to choose, and he's urging us to do better. But his mercy is such that even while you are hell-bent on destruction, he will stave it off so that there will come the day when you can say, I am sorry, you can repent, and you can become a blessing to society. There are many reformed criminals, murderers, every kind of atrocity they have committed, who are today walking this land and being a blessing to others. And their stories are testimonies of the goodness and the greatness of God and the transformative power of repentance and forgiveness. And we need those persons to be around, because if God struck down dead everybody who made a mistake, who on earth would be left?
All of us would be gone.
We would all be gone, because understand this about God too. And I'm just sharing from my own knowledge and awareness. And when we open the lines, you can share, and I know Pastor will share. Understand this about God. A teeny tiny lie that you think makes no difference to the world is as bad in his sight as the beheading of a small child.
Because to him sin is sin.
Sin is sin. It is man who creates distinctions. It is man who tries to say, oh, well, this is a big and this is a little. You're wrong, you're wrong. And please understand too, that when you have a right knowledge of these things, you understand that the teeny tiny lie today becomes the cause of the huge high crime tomorrow. And let's be clear on it. Some of the politicians who are afflicting damage on us today started off with a teeny tiny lie that they got away with through the sweetness of their tongue, the beguiling smile, and the cute little personality they had as teeny tiny ones in school when they put up their hands and did something that is really unspeakable, but they got away with it. And every time you get away with a small one, you do a bigger one. Until before you know it, you're standing in Parliament saying stupid things and making laws that oppress hundreds and thousands of people. Before you know it, that's who you are. Do you relate it back to the day when you got that sweet feel of victory because you did something and nobody found out and you got away with it? Until today, you can get away with buying votes. You can get away with every kind of perversion that you set your mind to. You can commit every type of crime against the people you're sworn to protect and nobody really knows or holds you accountable. That young man who had the knife in his hand is the creation of this same Jamaican society. All of us who choose to look the other way, all of us who don't take things seriously enough and say it is not my business, we created him. Why should God clean him up? We should clean it up. And we should clean it up in the way that he has ordained, because he speaks of love, reconciliation, rehabilitation, care and nurturing for those whose minds are broken and diseased and who turn to things that are unspeakable because we didn't care enough to put the right things in place in a society to capture them and to deal with them. Person, I have to leave something for you.
Not a leaf. No.
Here is the second point I had, is the necessity of human agency in finding the path to redemption and reconciliation. Now, we speak about human agency and the necessity of it in matters of a spiritual nature, because if God says do this, he has spoken, and having spoken, it is done. But if a man don't pick up his hand and move, it's going to wait until somebody who is willing and obedient picks up to move.
Which is one of the points people keep hearing me repeating, underscoring. The faith that we say that we possess in God is not a faith that is up there, but it's a faith that becomes a reality in our situation by our actions. I was sharing with a group recently, and I said the relationships that we have with each other must be a reflection of the God that we say that we serve. So we cannot say, I love God, I serve God, but it is not reflected in the quality of the relationships that we have with each other. I believe that. And so even in terms of how God has set it up in human history, he recognized that we had missed the mark. And he did everything within his power that we could come back and not miss the mark. That is why Jesus Christ is so very, very important, because he says, outside of a relationship and walking in obedience to what I have said, you're going to miss the mark every time. And so we need to recognize, I've recognized that outside of who God is and what he has revealed himself to us as through the person of Jesus Christ, we keep missing the mark. So that's a very, very, very important thing to me. And I've made a decision that as much as it is possible within me and with God's help, I choose to walk in obedience to what he has revealed in terms of his laws and how we must interact with each other. And he summed it up simply for us, and he says, if you love God, you're going to love your neighbor as yourself. And if we do that, a lot of the questions that come to mind, why you do this and do that, they are solved. Because we are, as you have said, put it so nicely, put ourselves in the other person's shoes and how we'd want for persons to respond to us. So I must admit, the question that enlightened self-interest pose And in self-interest, it is something that I walked with from 1996. Let me share a personal experience in terms of how does God help me to deal with evil in the world. When I was a youth leader, we were away because we were overseas, and then we got the call that members of my youth group were attacked
By gunmen.
by gunmen. Somebody that was close to me, she died. She died as a result. They were just having fellowship as young people, and somebody just walked in. We couldn't understand it and just opened fire. She died. Wonderful young lady, somebody who loved the Lord. And then one of my brothers who survived, he still has the scars in terms of that. And I said, God, we could have made something like that happen. And even as I recount what happened, I'm saying, oh,
That is a testimony that continues to speak today.
never.
Because for you, it's as if it just happened.
Yeah, it's
Still fresh.
still fresh. So,
But look what it has done for you.
because one of the things, in terms of it's kind of opened up me to be more compassionate, to better understand and to recognize that in all of these things, the word of God says, and we know all things work together to those who love God, to those who are the called, according to his purpose and what it means. And other things have happened. But thank you for asking that question yesterday, because it is not something that is just up there an esoteric thing. It is something that is real, and we seek answers. But then David says, but then when I went into the house, it says it's going to work out in terms of the evil that we see, because ultimately we know that it is resolved. The constant pull between good and evil and God, somehow, because he's God, is working it out. He's working it out. So thanks for asking that question.
But Pastor, the heart of what we're saying is this. Yesterday I said to him, you are judging God by the standards of man. Easy to say, but difficult to even break down and understand. Why did I say it to him? Said it to him because there are many things which are of value to us, but they don't rise or have the same value in the eyes of God. And when I say this, please don't all faint. Human life and human existence, the span of years that we have on this planet, its importance to God is based on purpose. Your purpose can be fulfilled in a day, in a moment, and so your life is no more than a moment or a day. Your purpose can take 70 years, 100 years, 120 years, as it pleases him. What is important to God is your soul and your relationship to him.
Most important thing.
And we know that that relationship can be secured in a moment, in the blink of an eye. People like to talk about the dying thief on the cross who said, remember me when you are in paradise,
when you
come into your kingdom. And right there and then the deal was sealed. This day you shall be with me in paradise. So we know that it don't require years of training and suffering and beating your back against the world. No, it does not. Once the deal is done, it is done. And because he exists outside of our time and space and matter, it really, we don't have any kind of relatable concept of what it takes, except we know that it is done because we have been taught and we have experienced that it is done. So we tend to think that if a man loses time on earth, he has lost something of great value. And to me, and that's nonsense. So minutes say nonsense. How long you live on earth is not a thing that is material to God. It's not like saints are guaranteed to live long, and if somebody died early, it meant they were sinful. No, nothing like that.
Purpose.
That's one. It's all about purpose. The second thing is that we think that our physical bodies and the trauma or the pleasure that it can endure is of importance.
Just a
And
house.
it is not. It's a tent, it's a house.
It's a house.
It is a house for the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, there are many people who have lived and contributed greatly while tied to a wheelchair. I think of Stephen Hawkins, who didn't even have a natural voice. He spoke through a computerized gadget. Lived like that, died like that, and lived long too.
Yeah.
So the condition of your physical body and you know the things that happen to it are of no moment. So we tend to be greatly offended and get stirred up and say, where is God if a throat is cut and blood is on the ground?
Mm-hmm.
You know what's important? Is it innocent blood? How did that blood get on the ground? Because it's an offense to the ground as well as to the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things you need to do both before and after a great crime, that if you miss doing it before and the crime comes to fruition, then you are under double pressure now to correct and capture it afterwards.
Yeah.
So the things that cause us to say, where is God? We got to check ourselves and make sure that as individuals, we are in the right relationship with God so that he will give us the eyes of wisdom to see and to correctly understand what's going on when you see these things overflowing in the society. Yesterday, we were in the vicinity of the Supreme Court downtown. And if you saw the garbage, the trash, and if you could smell the stench of the water right between the two court buildings, it's as if the place was occupied by unspeakable forces.
Not it was.
At the seat of Jamaican justice,
Yeah.
it stink. I mean, I'm
couldn't
going
believe
down
it.
there today. I've worn shoes that cover up my feet completely because I don't even want a drop of water to touch me when I traverse those streets. And I am about to enter the Supreme Court, the highest seat of justice in this country. There were homeless persons in occupation on the sidewalk. And I'm saying, if you walked through every morning and clean up and give help to the people who are there and put them in some place that is secure, you would have done your job.
You know.
Judges drive past it. Policemen are stationed in full view of it. Citizens who are going about their business. Myself, I walk past it. But see, I'm talking about it this morning. And when I go back down to the court, I'm going to speak with the registrar.
There must, you know, what a
We
contrast.
gotta get involved.
What a contrast. What a contrast. The seat
of justice. Highest. The Court of Appeal is right over there, looking right down on the slime and the nastiness. What are you going to get out of that now? You have to be very spiritual to understand that is the grace of God that's going to cause some well-thinking person to say, you know what? Let me rise above what I see at my feet. I tell you, I couldn't drive past that and say I'm going to work. Secure in my car with my... You have to have your windows wound up because the stench would just bother you. I could not be seeing that every day and don't do something about it.
It just highlights how, trying to find the word, how it's not immune, how numb we've become to the condition of our fellow man in this country at the highest seat of justice. And then we see that it don't trouble us. It doesn't cause us to blink.
Yeah.
It says that is how it is. And it probably is a reflection
Listen, man,
of our justice system need to be reformed.
Let me tell you, it's just like when we were talking about the independence, the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying that those who are complaining that the songs are not up to par, the songs reflect exactly where we are. It is exactly where we are. Because that is it. That's like mirror. A mirror is created so it can distort or give you that is not even a mirror.
Even merit is reality.
That's reality. That's what is. So it is. You drive around and you see the environs of the seat of justice. The Chief Justice go there every day. That's where him work. All the people who go there every day and pass it and don't insist and ensure. Let me tell you how I am, Percy. As the producer is reminding me, the parish council office is right in the same vicinity.
Yeah.
And you see how God work? During the pandemic, when we scrape up the people because we didn't want contagion on the street and do something for them for 10 days and then let them out, you know where they went? Right in the vicinity of the Supreme Court and the mayor's office. And that's where they set up their camp. I don't tell me that all the vagrants and mad people decide that that's where we're going. Something led them there. And they remain there. Just like in the Bible, what's his name? Lazarus at the rich man's gate.
Yes.
You drive past him every day. You drive past him go. You drive past him come. And then when you finally see the justice, you are asking again for God to intervene and send him back to warn the other rich brethren.
And
it will not be
they
done.
have so many people on them and upon them. Say Moses and things. Them never. How them going to
leave poor Lazarus now to enjoy his afterlife? But I mean, we're not short of whether it's in fable, myth, Bible story. No matter where you want to look, there are so many patterns laid out for us to see that we need to fix it.
And we can change it.
And we can change it. All right, we've got the signal for the break. It's 7 a.m. Please stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Imagine waking up early, entering your bathroom to refresh yourself, only to be greeted with air coming from your pipes. This frustration and inconvenient situation is what many residents of Westgate Hills in St. James have grown accustomed to due to inconsistent water supply to the area. That situation is now resolved thanks to a 100,000-gallon tank installed in the community by the National Water Commission NWC.
I actually welcome the commissioning of the tank because for years we have suffered because of lack of water in the area to the extent where we had property damage as a result of the tank not working. So we really welcome this commissioning today where we will be able to have free water flowing in our pipes.
Resident of Westgate Hills, Dawn Poser. Owner and operator of Witter's Institute in Westgate Hills, Gavil Witter, says the new tank will have a positive effect on the operations of his school.
We were badly affected when water went, so we are quite happy to see something like this open up in our community. Finally, we can be set easy to say no more water cuts.
President of the Westgate Hills Citizens Association, Kareen Bailey Dawkins, says the community had been plagued by constant disruption in water supply due to an inefficient water tank. Now the community's new tank has brought some relief.
It's amazing. Years in waiting. Westgate Hills is a 3-phase development. Phase 1 is over 50 years. We were reduced to one tank that had the capacity of only maintaining our community for half a day if we had a disruption in the water supply. This is one of our cries.
The Westgate Hills No. 2 storage replacement tank was erected under the NWC's Tank and Pump Rehabilitation for Operational Efficiency Improvement Program at a cost of $30 million. The storage system replaces a defective and inefficient tank and is expected to reduce energy consumption. This will result in the reduction of downtime for the Westgate distribution network.
This project is one of many. The tank component of the program incorporates refurbishing and recommissioning of approximately 30 existing potable water storage tanks, including the re-engineering and of the associated service network to effect a reduction in the system's physical losses and energy consumption.
Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda. He says similar projects are being executed across the island with a view to improving water distribution in targeted communities.
Lot 1, comprising 100,000-gallon tanks, is in the following areas: Liberty in St. Anne, Ramgalam and Sandy Hill in St. Mary, Cocoa Ridge in St. Catherine, Niagara in St. James, Gravel Hill in Trelawney, Essex Valley in St. Elizabeth, and at the KPH in Kingston and St. Andrew. Lot 2 comprises 100,000 gallon tanks located at Seville and Exchange in St. Anne, Prospect in St. Thomas, 5 communities in St. James, namely Torrade Heights, Pit 4, Portobello, and of course, right behind me here in Westgate Hills.
Phase 3 and 4 of the project will see 50,000 gallon tanks installed in several communities in Clarendon, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Anne, and St. James.
For communities including Yorktown and Mineral Heights in Clarendon, King Weston in Kingston and St. Andrew, Tangle River, Moy Hall in Montego Hill 1 and 2, as well as Unity Hall in St. James, Davistown in St. Anne, Kingston Western rather in Kingston and St. Andrew, Albert Town in Trelawney, and Ferry Hill Sherwood Forest, Portland. Lot 5 will comprise 250,000 gallon tanks in Granville, St. James.
Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda. The project is in its final stages, and more Jamaicans across the island are expected to receive access to more consistent supply of running water in their pipes. I'm Andre Palmer. Thank you for listening.
I read about it, I don't know all this shot actually. I have a message to everyone. Hey, tourism the main driver of the local economy. It provides us with job, feed the country. So everybody in the industry, get the job and come follow me. It don't hurt. To the nerd, link the nurse cause the vaccine work. Get vaccinated. This is a message from the Ministry of Tourism. Get vaccinated. Just get vaccinated. You're deaf?
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
One when there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna port, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live on the bank, live a bank or low line here. If you see flood waters are rising, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and not sliding, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen. Be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all, you can call us at 926-38666.
We are something special on the road.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection. So, yes, I was causing you to look at the horribleness of our own behavior. And yes, I was making it clear that the actors or the violence producers, as we are now calling them, They are us.
They're
A for me and for your picnic, brother, sister, whatever it is, whatever relation, and some they are or lovers or husbands. Yes, that's us. We're not just victims. We're not just the righteous ones standing on the sideline, wringing our hands and saying, "Where is God?" No, 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 no. We are the creators of the same monsters that afflict us when they feel a mind. And can I tell you, inside of you and me is the same little monster waiting to rise up its head when we feel sufficiently affronted by whatever insult we imagine. There are many persons who have done things which, when they reflect on it, they cannot tell you how, why.
To the spiritual.
Yeah. So let us not hold ourselves separate from what's going on in our country and behave as if it's somebody else's problem or that we only need supernatural assistance. No, no, no. Human agency is essential in the workings of every divine plan.
You know, and that is why I always go back to the beginning. People always hear me speak about first principles. God makes the world. He gives it to us. He says, okay, you rule, take dominion, replenish in relationship to me. When you walk away from the divine and don't make the connection between the divine and what you see before you, that is where the problem is. Because there's always a connection. He made the world. He gave it to us, which is a physical place. He said, run it. But do that in relationship
with me. Let me be the conscience, the heart, the advisor, the counselor, who gets you to make decisions and do what you can do.
Which is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Which comes out of a principle of, which says that God is love. And that is the essence of who he is, and he wants to intervene, to act on our behalf. So a lot of us are, I'm praying, and God say, we give you the power a long time. We are waiting for me for stop the praying and go begin to act. Because most of the persons, we think of Martin Luther King, we think King Jr., we think of Martin Luther and all the people who have brought about real change. Them pray, but then say no time to get up and go do something about it.
Or for goodness sake, pray while you're walking into the battle.
Yes, man. And understand who your God is, and he is able to intervene on your behalf and just waiting for you to ask. Because he set a principle, I've given you the world, you are responsible, but work with me in terms of effecting what I want to happen in the world.
Yes.
So we are called to know, to begin to act, to run away from it. And guess what he has done for us, Minette? He has removed the greatest fear that a lot of us have, which is the fear of death. What do I mean by that?
I know full well what you mean.
I'm done dead already.
Share.
I'm done dead already.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm not bound by what is going to happen to me. I know what happens after. So now I'm walking in complete faith and confidence that even if I die in terms of walking in his purpose, I'm good.
Well, let's explore that a little bit, because earlier when I said that we place great value on our physical or corporeal being, it is tied in with that very point you're making. Because we treasure this body so much, we feel that any insult to the body is a great trauma. We fail to realize that we are spirit beings. This covering that holds and is a representation. This covering that we have is so that we can be visible to others like us, and so that we don't merge. In other words, my body creates a boundary which you are not supposed to penetrate without permission and consent.
Right.
So we can stand separate and be seen in our separate identity. But truly, when we lose this body, and this is why now when you have a relationship with him and you have a right understanding of things, you know that this body is the least of you. In fact, man is working very hard now to make parts of the body disposable and interchangeable. You know, if you can clone an arm and put it down, when this one is broken, you just put it on a new one.
Yeah.
You can do that with your ear. You can do that with your heart. We are doing things now that shows that this body it's special, but it's not so special. When gravity drags it down to the ground and you want to lift it up again, man has found ways to lift it up again. So as science marches on, we're doing all kinds of things with the physical body, which tells you that the physical, because that's the other thing, because we so treasure the time in this realm that we don't want to leave it. But guess what? It's because we don't know nothing better.
Well, you put it right. Yeah, but now,
if we knew that the spirit self and the spiritual existence is far superior to this physical existence, we wouldn't be so attached to it. And guess what? We would then move to do things and not be so fearful that this is going to cause harm to my body or to my existence in this realm. There are some things that I have been called to do that when I say called to do, you know, I don't mean that I get a phone call, although sometimes I get a phone call.
You get a phone call, sister.
Yes. But you see a situation before you, and I'm being graphic about it because I want you to just walk with me in this. You see a situation before you. You know that if left unchecked, it's not going to go anywhere good. You look around to see who else, and you start to say, but why them not do so-and-so? Or why did they?
And then the call comes and say, why don't you?
Comes the moment when you say, but if I walk away and hear down the road that this happened or that happened, it is going to haunt me. Because I stood there, I had the idea, I saw the necessity, I had the capability, because if I didn't have the capability, I wouldn't have the idea. I would have stand up like everybody else with my cell phone on taking a picture of it.
Oh, my Lord.
But I had the idea. That means it's me. Yesterday we spoke about calling out the 7,000 whose knees have not bowed.
I'm calling them out again this morning.
You are there. Once the idea is in your mind, and not just that there is a need, but you see exactly how it should be done. And you are even saying, why they're not doing it this way? Listen, man, stop asking why. Jump into the fray and do what you know. Do it, and then be satisfied in your mind that you did your best. That is what we are called to do. And that when we hear talk about purpose, in every situation, there is an individual who has an idea that can change it. But if you get shy, if you said, no, it can't be me, this is a Gideon moment, mighty man of valor. No, it can't be me. I'm just the least among my brethren.
About everybody else.
No.
And God calls you out and say, you that.
When you get that idea, it is time for you to move. Because purpose. And if you begin to have a right understanding of these things, then you will be a part of the solution. And you won't be victim, and you won't be... listen, Jamaicans, you know why I know that Jamaicans have the answer to these things? When they call us on this program, everybody have 10 solutions or 10 ideas on where we can take things. When you're on the street and there's an issue, there is the same competition of how to. If instead of be competing in your voices, in talking, if you just said, well, okay, you grab that end, me grab that, let us move it, you're going to see things shift in this country.
So the whole point of fear, Matthew 10:28 is, do not be afraid of those who can kill
the body,
but cannot kill the soul. But rather be afraid of him who can destroy both soul and body in heaven.
The other thing I want to say, because of one or two comments I'm seeing online, never be discouraged because the small thing you didn't have an immediate effect. Just remember that it is the cumulative impact that counts. So figure this now. Earl said he was in Montego Bay and he saw a gully full of garbage behind the courthouse, and he wrote to the town council about it. When Earl Wright, and I know somebody whose name is Earl Wright.
Yeah, me know.
When Earl writes a letter,
yes,
and Minette writes a letter, and Lowell writes a letter, and believe me, your letter is crucial, Because if there is someone who says, if I get another letter, this have to change.
It's like the unjust judge.
Yes, absolutely. You have to be persistent. And when you get the urge to write a letter, write that letter. Don't worry that they didn't answer you. Don't worry that you don't see change immediately. There is someone in there who is going to move when the next letter comes in, and that next letter may be your letter. Tipping point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then Jackie says she went downtown and it looked dirty and feel dirty. All that and it is dirty, and you do feel, I mean, yesterday the stench that hit me was unbelievable, and there was a police car and several officers standing there with one very untidy looking yellow tape that they tie onto one. I mean, I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to take a picture of it because I'm going back down there today.
But it goes back to, each one of us taking personal responsibility for what is around us. We're not asking people to become the prime minister or anything like that. We're just simply saying that each person, if they take personal ownership for the things that they can control, those simple things now turn into a tsunami of change that is needed in the country. For the 7,000 that are there that have not bowed the knee and said, boy, we can't do nothing about it. Time has come for us to begin to act. Solutions, man, always say start in the family. That's where it begins. In terms of education, in terms of indoctrination of a new way of thinking, in terms of how we're going to fix it, in terms of our communities. Because if everybody begins now to call the powers that be to book, to speak truth to them and say, this cannot happen, it will not happen on our watch, then the change will begin.
I want to share, we're always looking for the patterns and the precedent. Yes, this is where precedent based in this, in this jurisdiction.
The lawyer come out.
Yes. So I was looking for just a little story to encourage us. We know that right now, even reading yesterday, the so-called gains of this security strengthening project that is being done, and just looking at the gains and how off the mark they are, because they're strengthening investigative capacity while the Chief Justice is throwing out cases for lack of proper investigation and evidence. They're trying to strengthen capacity in communities and reduce homicides while the numbers are exceeding, past performance, if one could call it that. So it seems overwhelming. And maybe there's only a little band of us who are pushing against it and who are saying and seeking to give the right guidance concerning these things. So it looks as if the odds are against us. Most people, when they speak, they say, but that's how the government stay, and that's how politicians stay, and the leaders and the banks, and it looks like it's a runaway train where injustice, greed, selfishness, and just evil behavior is concerned. It looks like the church is not even putting up a fight. It looks like good has been overrun by evil, wouldn't you say?
That's what
it looks like. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. So I found a story. Now, Ahab, married to Jezebel, one of the most famous.
Is that Jezebel? We need to explain that a little bit. What Jezebel represents.
Right. Ahab married to Jezebel, king of Israel. As our caller yesterday pointed out, the 10 plus 2 tribes. King of the 10 tribes of Israel. He now was under pressure from the king of Aram. The Arameans were gathered, ready to fight him. And they had talked themselves into this theory that the God of Israel is a God of the hills. So if you fight them in the plains, you can overcome.
Yes, I remember that story.
Right. This is in 1 Kings chapter 20. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it, starting from verse 23. Meanwhile, the officials of the king of Aram advised him, their gods are gods of the hills. That is why they were too strong for us. But if we fight them on the plains, Surely we will be stronger than they. Do this. Remove all the kings from their commands and replace them with other officers. You must also raise an army like the one you lost, horse for horse and chariot for chariot, so we can fight Israel on the plains.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of on the plains, in the sense that the enemy thinks we are overrun. They're just having a field day.
Mm-hmm.
So we are in the plains. Verse 26, the next spring, Ben-Hadad mustered the Arameans and went up to fight against Israel. When the Israelites were also mustered and given provisions, they marched out to meet them. The Israelites camped opposite them like two small flocks of goats, while the Arameans covered the countryside. I'm reading this just for that visual picture.
Mm-hmm.
There you are, just a handful of us. They look like two small flocks of goats, and they are surrounded by an army of great size numbers. Look like this is going to be curry goat for dinner.
Mm-hmm. Man, people start lick them chops.
Ah, yes, and put on their bib because you don't want the curry on your uniform. In comes the prophet. And I make mention of it because amongst Jamaicans are many people who are deeply connected to the divine creator, are in contact with him, are walking with him, are listening, and are obedient.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some who are not sure what they're hearing, and they need to be encouraged to be obedient and do what you are hearing in the spirit. The man of God came up and told the king of Israel, this is what the Lord says. Jamaica, this is what the Lord says. Because the enemy thinks that the Lord is a God of the hills and not a God of the valley, I will deliver this vast army into your hands, and you will know that I am the Lord. And these are the words of encouragement that we're offering this morning. Yes, we are surrounded. Yes, we look like a small number. But because people are mistaken and ignorant about the character of God and the power of God,
they say they serve,
God is going to show who he is. He's going to reveal himself. So listen, asking where is God and why God don't, those are not bad questions, because guess what? They are inviting God to reveal himself.
Amen.
They are inviting and pushing people like me and people like Pastor to step up and say, this is who he is. You just stand back and watch what he's about to do in this nation. So just to tell you how the battle ended. For 7 days, they camped opposite each other. I always like how the Bible wars are so orderly. For 7 days, the two little flocks of goat are in the center of the plain. And the one who think they must win, they're standing and looking at them, I guess. On the 7th day, the battle was joined. And I watch the numbers. It's always 3 days or 7 days, 5 days, the number of grace, the number of the Holy Trinity, 7 days, the number of perfection. On the 7th day, the battle was joined. The Israelites inflicted 100,000 casualties on the Aramean foot soldiers in 1 day. It's scriptural, what did they say? One will take 10,000? Mm-hmm.
2 10,000.
The rest of them escaped, where they escaped to a city where a wall collapsed on 27,000 of them. A wall. Otherwise, we'd say that is natural disaster.
Yes.
Possibly the weight of them running towards the wall caused the wall to tumble.
Push it down.
Or, as Pastor said, the angel push it down. Whatever, 27,000 died from a wall. Could hardly even say that it was a war injury.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the invading king fled to the city and hid. That's the end of the story. Point I'm making here is that, yes, we may be small in number, but that is just an invitation for God to step in because of your obedience and your boldness in standing up against the things that are wrong.
That are against God and his principles. So the whole thing of the David and Goliath, that just comes back to mind.
Yeah.
And everybody
same pattern.
Yes, and
same
one man
pattern.
stand up and say, who dare defy the armies of the eternal God. And one of the things that jumps out, the things that you have learned in the past about how you do it, God has used that process to kind of not wean you, to make you better. So when this big battle has
Prepare
come,
you, man, prepare you.
If he has prepared you, it's time to go. He says, the 7,000, calling the 7,000, all over Jamaica, in the diaspora, time come for us to take back our country from all the forces that would seek to destroy us.
So the last point we want to emphasize in this little segment now is the importance of choice. Freedom to choose.
Never taken it from us, still remains with us.
If you had the freedom on the first day, you have it on the last day. God is unchanging in his ways. His character is set. Because his character is perfect, you don't need to change. Who messes with perfection?
Nobody does.
So, some people like to say, oh, if he's unchanging, that mean what? He mean flexible, that mean there's a limitation. No, he's perfect. No one messes with perfection. No sensible. Lowell say only humans mess with perfection. That nose look out of place. I just want to tweak it a bit.
Oh, or the breasts, or the bottom, or whatever.
Well, we fight against gravity. That is an accepted fight. But he's perfect in his ways, so there's no need for changing. That's why we say unchanging. It's not because it means he's stubborn and inflexible and that those are limitations. He is perfect. And if we just say he's perfect, we don't even have to say he's unchanging. Something is perfect, it's perfect. It is always perfect. And what does that mean? It adapts itself perfectly to every situation. Perfection. So you don't need to change. And because we know of this perfection, we say he is faithful. He's faithful to his character. He's faithful to the principles that he lays down. If the principle is good on day 1, it is good on day 200 and whatever when you are catching tail. Meaning, if it is good when you are successful, it is also good when you're in problems. Yeah. And you can apply the same principle without fear. A lot of us, the principle change depending on which side of it we're on.
Yeah.
He's unchanging in his ways, and he gave us choice, and he has not resiled from it. Man has the freedom to choose. Choose ye this day which way you will go.
Yeah, that's what Joshua said when he was giving his farewell. Choose ye day. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Yep.
Joshua,
time for our 7:30 break. When we come back now, we're going to look at some of the things that are happening right now so we can bring you up to date before we open the lines and start to chat with you.
We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. Hurricanes can happen, so be prepared.
Arbitrary, 100, arbitrary. Bossy. How do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try calling him, cause trust me.
Good afternoon.
What a relief.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice.
Hey, let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when faith is more valued than real, lies prefer the truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don Donna, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good. It's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection. So I've asked Pastor to just take charge of this segment because, you know, me always chatting so much. And he has something he needs to say.
No, my dear sister, but we closed off just thinking about that God is calling those who believe that they are insignificant and they don't matter. But even with the way that God gave them the victory that day in 1 Kings 21, but the even greater victory that he gives is that insignificant 17-year-old boy who went on he was having a happy time. Them say, Father said, go carry some food. When your brothers there at war and him go and him. But him said, no, he became angry. And it was righteous anger. But it says, who are these uncircumcised Philistines who dare come against the God of the heavens? And he was not just speaking brashly as a young man. He was saying, but this same God that has helped me to overcome the lion and the bear, it is that God. I know what was significant. Saul said to him, here what happened. You're going to war, put on this. This will fit you. Mm-hmm. Put on my garments. And it's no boss.
You need an armor.
Me not used to that at all. I'm not used to that at all. I'm going to go with the things that I am become proficient in the use of. And it was a sling and the 5 stones, and he went on and took him off. And he says, some people in relating that says, him said to himself, you think you are so big, but you are so big that I can't miss you at all. And so the challenges we face in our country in regards to corruption, in regards to crime and violence, in regards to violence that is so senseless, in regards to all the problems that we face. You, in your own way, have overcome challenges in the past. And the challenges that you have faced, that you have overcome, has prepared you for today in terms of what God is calling you to do. Do not say that I cannot do this because I am so small, I'm so insignificant. Those persons, those 7,000 I'm calling them today, who have not bowed the knee, who have continued to walk in righteousness and in justice, who have continued to be merciful and love the truth. The time has come now. Now is the time. Now is the time that the Father is calling you as a person in Jamaica to stand up and say, enough is enough.
You know what? We can make it easier. If you have listened to this program more than 5 times, that's you.
Yes.
Just count off how many times you said, I need to listen to this program. If you have listened to us more than 5 times, 5 being the number of grace.
Yes. And
that's you. Because the only reason you keep coming back to hear us is because something we are saying resonates very well with your spirit. And in the words of the prophetic, they would say it's confirmation.
It is.
It's confirmation of who you are, of what drives you, of how you feel about your purpose and your role in this world. There is not a single living, breathing being who does not have purpose, meaning who was not designed for a purpose. You may not have figured it out yet. You may still be searching. You may have tried one and discovered that that didn't fit. Purpose. It's in you. It's in you. And there are some voices that are set to trigger and activate you into purpose. There are some events that will take place in your environment around you that just, what they say, get your goat.
Just make your blood boil.
Absolutely.
It's part of your purpose.
Driving you to purpose. And don't resist it.
And you keep saying, why is this thing not leaving me? Why is this? There are some things for some people, it just make them blood boil. Things of injustice. You can't stand it. It means that God is calling you to do something.
Do something about it.
Yeah.
All right. And then the next principle you will learn now that when you are moving in purpose, then the provision is there for you. It's
always,
almost like a treasure hunt.
It's always. That has been the experience of my own life. I can never forget it. So here's the World Cup of 2007, World Cup of cricket. And I couldn't go to sleep. It's like you dream it not leaving you. Lord says, you need to use this opportunity to speak about my goodness. Not only in Jamaica, but all other countries. And God allowed me. I just shared the vision with a couple of people, and they just gave money to it. And then what happened afterwards? I was able to go to 10 countries in 13 days, just island hopping, going to the church, sharing the vision.
Yes.
So it turned out to be a tremendous time of ministry in the countries that hosted matches and so on. Songs came out of it. We still have the album and so on. So when you understand, and
so it was not about the cricket.
Not about the cricket.
Was just the door opener to go and do something fantastic.
Ministry. Yeah, because and we came up with this thing, hope. So hope is not a new concept. Yeah, the government has adopted, but it was hospitality, outreach, people, evangelism. So what I'm saying to persons who are hearing my voice today, move from just speaking about something, move to doing something about it in your own small way. And those small acts of courage, of kindness, of love will mushroom into something that is even bigger than you. Because David never understood that in him taking down the giant, what would have happened for the children of Israel. There are giants in our land today, but we have to take them down individual by individual, community by community, and we'll begin to see the change in our nation.
As you mentioned, community. Coming up in the month of July, we're going to go back now to our 1660 project and really begin to drive some fire under it, so to speak. Really feel good story on the front page of today's Gleaner.
I like her. She's a beautiful woman.
Pamela Monroe Ellis, who seems to be aging in reverse. So apparently,
aging in reverse.
You know, see the lady looking younger and younger.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But look at that. She's
aging in reverse. It looked like reading about all the corruption or ferreting out. You see, if you need any encouragement, this lady spends her time ferreting out corruption and misbehavior on the part of public officials. And she's doing a good job of it. As a consequence, she don't look old and pop down.
No, she
doesn't. Look at her.
Because the Lord gives her grace every day.
She provision. She gets provision. It's a really beautiful picture of her. She is, well, it says she has topped the 2021 field. They're a year behind, or so it go?
It's 2020. It's named 2021, happens in 2022. That was middle of the year, so it couldn't be 2022.
No, but you're giving the award in 2021. In 2022.
For 2021.
Yes, but you wouldn't call it the winner for 2021. 2021 winner was for 2020.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, not my business how they name it. I wondered if perhaps, with COVID, they had lost a year, which is possible too, but it does not matter.
The fact is,
the truth is she could have won it for the last 5 years. Yes. But Pamela Monroe Ellis has won the 2021 What is that? RJR Gleaner? That says RG Platinum Award. Is it a new thing? I don't remember.
No, platinum is it top. Yeah,
I know, but is it a new thing they're doing?
In terms of what?
RJR, this award. It does not matter. She's won it. I don't know enough about it, so I'm just trying to.
Performance. It means it's top of the top. So so she won the overall award for being.
I know. I mean, is this the first year of it? Is this? No, do you remember hearing about the Platinum Award before?
No, but I remember being award.
Yes, right. So maybe they only give it every so often. It's like a unicorn.
Okay.
Notwithstanding, she has earned it, and she has rather eloquently said that whereas she's the leader of the organization and the one named, it is really the result of the work of members of her department.
And she's
and
fearless.
So on and so forth.
I should not take back no chat from
the only sad thing about all this, is that poor lady, she work and they don't seem to take any she's not able to sue the government for implement the recommendations, which if she were not working as a commission or a division of parliament, she could take action against them, but she can't take action against herself.
So that's why you're saying that.
That's why, in the new constitution,
That's interesting.
They must be independent so that they can take action when they are ignored or,
The Integrity Commission.
The Integrity Commission is also a commission of parliament.
That's what I'm saying. So you are recommending.
It should also be truly independent.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what we're advocating.
That's what we're absolutely. When we start our road march for constitutional reform, these are the kinds of things that we absolutely need to tease out.
Mm-hmm. It was said last week, even as we are on the matter of constitutional reform and change, the former Solicitor General, Michael Hilton, was saying that for us to become a republic, it's going to take 10 years. Anything can go so.
That's his idea.
Oh, but that don't make no sense.
No, it doesn't.
So why would he put that out there?
Michael is fairly conservative in his approach to governance.
But 10 years?
That's 10 years if people just sit down and take it.
Yeah, but 10 years, why is he saying that? Because when you think about it...
Maybe he thinks a quicker time would mean there's a coup or there's civil unrest. But those are all possibilities. We shouldn't shy away from it. And if you're going to say 10 years, you'd have to say 10 years unless X, Y, Z, Z, Z are addressed so people can know that these are the kinds of roadblocks that you could encounter. But remember, there are some people who tell you if you want a divorce, you have to wait 3 years. A divorce can be done in 2 months. Okay. If everything happens on time.
So what?
As the law prescribes.
So in terms of, what if you change in a constitution? You can just throw it all on and put in a new one.
There's a way to do it, of course. Many countries do it.
Yeah,
it involves an army and some bloodshed.
That's what they do, really?
You have a coup.
Are you saying you cannot change your constitution?
If you go by the lawful process, which involves people voting a certain way by a certain number, then you have to spend the time doing the consultations and getting the votes lined up. Then if something goes wrong, somebody can take an action. And if that is heard and goes a certain way, somebody can appeal. And that appeal can go and go and go. It can take time.
But if the
people are of one voice,
one mind,
yes,
it can change.
And say it can change. It can change. And the reason I say it is because we tend to, who am I going to quote now? It might be P.J. Patterson, who said the law is not a shackle.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to use some of the legal provisions to constrain us.
Mm-hmm.
In places of hardship and impossibility.
Right.
But we can release them and look for ways to get to where you want to go as quickly as possible. It takes agreement.
Political
will. Yeah.
So in other words, they are saying what Michael Hilton QC has said, that if you want to change your constitution, if you go through all of the ramifications and things, it would take possibly 10 years. But if the people decide with their leaders to say, we want
This is what we want. We draw a line in the sand.
I
No,
said, this
no
we want,
protest, no objection. Give us this and we're good.
Yeah, okay.
It's done.
So let's follow up what happened in Barbados.
Yes.
Did them 10 years
No, it didn't. Well, if you add from the time of the first man scratched his head and said, get rid of the queen, to the day when it was done, it might be 40 years.
Oh, because.
But once the decision is made and you get your agreement in the right place, then it can happen the next day. Let me tell you, when I worked on the liberalization of the telecom sector, it took us 90 days to move from, yes, we're going to do it, to lawmakers standing in parliament and saying, this is the telecommunications bill. 90 days.
Okay, so it can be done then, if there's a will.
But what it was a private sector company agreeing, I will give up my monopoly licenses. Minister of Government and Prime Minister saying, it will be so. The requisite numbers in the House to debate the bill. And it was done.
Okay, so it can be done then.
Of course it can be done. And we were doing things concurrently. We were sitting in one room, negotiating the commercial things and saying this is what it needs to say. Then it's sent to the Chief Parliamentary Council, because one of the things that the government never gave up was the right to draft the law. We had lawyers from all over the world sitting and drafting. It could only go to the Parliamentary Council as drafting instructions, and then they did whatever magic they do and produce something that is called a bill.
Okay, but that's just a bill, which is a part of a bigger thing.
No. The bill became the Telecommunications Act once it was passed. The Constitution is just another piece of law. I mean, it is the first piece. It's like your birth paper. But many things you do afterwards,
you can fix that along the way.
Well, a constitution should be such that when you need to make changes, you can do it along the way. But you put the effort into it at the outset so that it gives the highest articulation of who you are as a country, and people can find themselves in it. We're doing a case in court now where we can't find ourselves in it.
In the constitutional court, okay.
We're in constitutional court. We're trusting that the 3 judges sitting there will actually give us a location. But when you see how things are done by state agencies and what they're doing to you, and we thank God that we had the opportunity to get some information to see exactly what was going on. It's not impressive what was going on, but at least with that knowledge now, we can go forward and say, well, this have to change.
Okay.
That have to change.
Okay. So what, in summary, we can change the constitution if we want to. If our political leadership says yes, if all of us as people agree, it can happen in a short period of time.
Yes, and if we're prepared to move out of the way any obstacle that will impede our progress.
Hear that, Jamaica?
And you go back to the necessity of human agency. If you sit down in a yard just as a man, this could be good if we could do so and so.
And I do not to move.
I'm not doing anything to move it. It will never happen.
Okay.
It will never happen.
So we have to go around and start our constitution.
We have to. Yes. Yeah. We have to. And people like us who have the opportunity to say something and to do something about it and so on, we have got to step in there and move. And we can't wait and say we need money and nobody not giving no money. We can't. We can't. We have to find a way. And we have to practice what we are saying to persons. We say, when you have a purpose, the provision is made.
And that's important. Vision brings resources.
But believe me, on the first day of the mission, you have not seen the provision.
You did not see it yet. I need to tell you.
All right.
You don't have a vision in your head of the purpose of what you need to do, and then God makes a connection with the relevant persons, and it goes. Shh.
So on page 3, after we have gone through, I didn't even bother to look at them pages. It is a Gleaner's publication, so rightly so. They have taken up the front page and the second page. with pictures of their awards. And so this beautiful young girl whose life was taken by her young, I don't know, boyfriend, whatever, she's on page 3 with, I guess it's her mother saying she was everything to me. All right, so we went through young woman, 4 children, throats cut. Yesterday, there was in the news the story of a 17-year-old girl who died in, they're calling it a vicious gun attack on Sunday. This is a young girl who was also a mother. She had a 4-month-old baby boy, still in school and dead. The young man accused of doing it is her boyfriend. But he was also, so let me tell you now, 17-year-old, she already has a baby and she's living in a house with a man, it seems like.
And this man was how old?
I think he's like around the same age too. That's on the news report. That's what they were saying, that he's also a teenager. There's some elements of the story which suggest that it was, it was an accidental shooting, but there was talk of domestic violence and like not the first time. And I'm not saying this to condemn anyone, but I just want to emphasize from what we were saying earlier, that when a 17-year-old mother is killed in circumstances that speak to domestic violence right there in a community, is our fault.
I never stood up and said
it's our fault. And I
mean, them business.
Yeah,
business.
It's our fault.
But if you talk about it's our fault, look at the story about.
A mother telling the court that her son is not capable of being a gangster.
Really?
Not capable of being in a gang. Let me see if he's a disabled person. She said her son is very quiet and shy, and he's someone who is willing to work. I raised my children to be law-abiding citizens, so I expected nothing less, said the mother, who took the stand after Chief Justice Brand Sykes permitted her son to reopen his case. She further told the court that her son, his age is not there yet, her son had never given her any reason to believe otherwise. She said from what she heard, he's part of a gang. When asked if she know why he's in court, she was then asked to describe how she had reacted to that news. I was devastated, and even until now I am, she answered, adding that she did not believe that he has the ability to be a criminal. The child that I have, Brian, is not capable of being in a gang, said the mother, who added that she has a very close relationship with her son. The woman said that although Morris had left her home at age 22, they spoke almost daily, and prior to his arrest, she would see him every week or every 2 weeks. She told the prosecutor that she did not know of Morris answering to any other name than his birth name and do not know of him being called Rooster. Morris is one of 28 remaining defendants. It's interesting that this is the headline today because yesterday one of our callers was saying, it was Neville who said that women need to have, there's a conversation to be had with women concerning the involvement of their menfolk in criminal activities. And here's a mother saying that she knows nothing of this side of her son, if such a side exists. And she is actually under oath saying she don't even think he's capable of going that distance. What do you make of that, Pastor?
My sister, that is.
What do you make of it?
I'm trying to put myself in her shoes as a mother. One of the questions I would ask, Daddy in it? Daddy in the picture? That's one.
So do you believe she could be speaking the truth?
She probably is enough based on what she has encountered, but is not in her side 24/7. Like she says, moved out of the house. So where does it speaks to her every day, but we can be very good.
Have you hidden any part of your character so completely from the people close to you that they could truthfully say, I've never seen this side of Pastor?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
There's somebody who knows some side of me that some people don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm accountable to people.
Yeah, but I'm asking, have you hidden it? Because it takes some effort to hide a part of your personality, to hide a certain side of you. And most times, you can't really hide it. Because if a discerning person will know. So take, for example, I play squash. And I learned so much about the character of persons who are on court with me. I see the men who get overly aggressive when they're losing. They start to call all kind of weird points. They start to bounce you on the court. They don't care if they trample you in getting to the ball. They forget, that you're, it don't matter to me if you treat me like just another player. But there are some men who, when they start playing with you, they're gentle and they don't want to make you run too hard. And then when they see that you're actually giving them a good run, they just become like the change. And you can tell that this is a person who, if I meet him in business and he thinks I'm gaining the advantage of him, he's going to do everything possible, including what's not right.
Wow.
And then you have other players who remain unfailingly polite and concerned throughout the game. Don't matter if they win or lose. This is they're not going to, make any kind of contact that might be too rough or anything. That's who they are. Now, if I learn things by how I see people play, and I watch people how they eat.
Wow.
I learn a lot about persons from how they eat, how they approach their food. There are some people who eat like they just come out of prison. They hug up the food and they dive into it. And you know that that's somebody who you don't even bother try to get their attention for anything when they're satisfying a physical hunger.
Okay.
So it's hard to hide your personality. Yes. So when a mom is saying, I don't even think he has the capability, you got to wonder, is she lying or did he manage to hide? No, it's easy for children most children are not fully formed up to the time when they're leaving home. So they don't even know some of the things they're capable of.
That they know, that's true.
So they can't even think of hiding it. And so mothers can really remember the child before trauma. And sometimes, it's trauma that makes you head in a direction.
Yeah, that's true.
And the mother don't know that you suffered some trauma and became something else. And you could hide your pain from her because, true story before we take our break. I see it's exactly 8:00. The stuff I've been going through, there are times when I don't call my mom or I don't talk to someone who's close to me because they will know.
They will know you, yes.
Because they know me.
Because them say, no, man, you're not too all right. No, something wrong.
As a consequence, there are times when if a couple of days pass and I don't call, somebody call me and say, come on, I got to hear your voice. Because I don't hide. And because I know and I don't want them to be too worried sometimes, I will just not speak. Anyway, it's 8:00. We're going to talk to you when we come back. Please remember all we've been talking about because we're taking responsibility. And we're not just taking responsibility to make change. We're taking responsibility of the horror we have created. Is our fault. It's not God's fault. It's not God need to come and fix it. It's man need to step up to the plate and say, this is my responsibility because I make it stay so. The numbers to call us, 619-1508 and 279-8473. Please stay with us. This is our longest break for the morning. So if you want to have a cup of coffee or go and refresh yourself, it's a good time to do it if you are not so careful about listening to the BBC News. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Danielle Yarowiecka with the BBC News. Leaders of the G7 industrialized nations say they'll take further measures to stop Russia profiting from its war of aggression against Ukraine. At the end of a summit in Bavaria, the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said the G7 would stand together for the long run. He said they would tackle soaring energy prices triggered by Moscow's invasion, which were causing instability. His words are spoken by an interpreter.
G7 stands together in their support for Ukraine. We agree that President Putin must not win this war, and we will drive the costs high for President Putin. And that's why it's important to stand together, even if it's a long course we will have to stand.
The mayor of San Antonio in Texas, where 46 people were found dead in a truck, has described it as an horrific human tragedy. Ron Nirenberg called for compassion and justice for the victims. It's one of the deadliest cases of human smuggling across the US border with Mexico. Will Grant has the story.
The scene which greeted the emergency services when they opened the trailer was grim in the extreme. Dozens of bodies piled on top of each other while a handful of survivors fought for air. Such events are common on the treacherous journey from Central America to the United States, but rarely with such high numbers of casualties. The truck had been abandoned on the outskirts of San Antonio after the driver fled, possibly aware that some of the migrants had not survived the trip in the blistering summer temperatures in Texas. There was no air conditioning or drinking water inside the vehicle.
A court in Germany has jailed a former Nazi concentration camp guard for 5 years for his role in crimes committed at a concentration camp during the Second World War. Josef Schutz, who is 101 years old, is the oldest person to be convicted in connection with the Holocaust. Warren Bull reports.
Josef Schutz was accused of crimes including aiding and abetting the execution by firing squad of Soviet prisoners of war in 1942, and the murder of prisoners using Zyklon B poison gas. During his trial, he said he was a farm labourer in Germany for most of the Second World War, and that he was not aware of the atrocities being committed at Sachsenhausen, where prisoners were held in inhumane conditions and sometimes killed openly. But prosecutors produced a number of historical documents which contradicted his version of events, and said he knowingly and willingly participated in the crimes as a camp guard.
China has cut by more than half the length of time travellers must quarantine for when they arrive in the country. That period had been 3 weeks. The move represents a major relaxation of the rules for a nation still pursuing a zero-COVID strategy. You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. A fire during a riot at a prison in southwest Colombia has killed 49 inmates and injured at least 30 others. The National Prison Authority said the fire in Tuluá in Valle del Cauca was started by inmates in the early hours of Tuesday morning in an attempt to escape. They say the blaze has now been controlled and no prisoners broke out. The United Nations has called for an independent inquiry into the deaths of 23 people after hundreds of migrants tried to break into the Spanish enclave of Melilla from Morocco. The Moroccan authorities say a number of people were crushed to death in a stampede on Friday after a section of border fence was cut open, while others may have been killed after falling from a border fence. The Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has blamed people traffickers. The number of people known to have been killed by a toxic gas leak at the Jordanian port of Aqaba on Monday has now reached 13. 250 were injured, more than 100 of whom are still being treated in hospital. Jordan's Prime Minister Bishr al-Hussauna visited the port and moved quickly to assure the public there was no further risk to life.
Things have gone back to normal now. However, as a precautionary measure, we've set a 5-kilometer perimeter around the area. Maritime activity has been restricted just as a precaution, until we can confirm atmosphere safety and to ensure that the gas released has no harmful effects on our citizens.
One of the favourites for the Wimbledon men's tennis tournament, Matteo Berrettini, has withdrawn after he tested positive for COVID-19. The Italian player, who was the runner-up last year, had won 2 of the main tournaments on grass in the run-up to this year's Wimbledon. Those are the latest stories from BBC World News.
One in one. Hurricane we never, how we rough. Whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane, we want you to know that we're going to mash up building, throw down things and just like flood out this. We no ram, we no respect no one, so not take no chance in way. Listen to Admiral and prepare. Hurricanes do happen. Be prepared. Be prepared.
prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try and call him, cause trust me.
Good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Trust you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash. Located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash. The best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good. It's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. So now it's your time. You heard Percy and me talking non-stop about our faith and purpose and encouraging you to take personal responsibility and to step into the fray. And for those who missed it, Pastor Percival cried. Yes, he cried. I have to say that because I cried first. And I was waiting on him to catch up with me. Took him almost a year. Oh, dear Lord. But, it is a beautiful thing for the heart to be moved. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hi. Thank you for answering my call. How are you today?
I am very well.
This sounds like a new caller. How are you, sir?
Yeah, man. Good.
Mm-hmm.
The point with the Camila Jan story.
Yes,
sir.
She gets a little beaten there.
A little beaten?
Well,
you're being very kind.
It's a blow. And I think it was a well-needed blow because it sent the right message, because I don't see how they want to be Commonwealth, head of Commonwealth, at the same time pulling away from the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
It is sending the wrong message. And the way they was going about it, it's like them come hard out and I spend so much money as if, we can use the same style and tactics with the local election up here.
Oh, I never saw that comparison. That's interesting. Good insight.
Well, and it seems like you're predicting a similar outcome.
Well, it might be the beginning of a trend. Because you have a certain station that is affiliated to them.
Yes.
And when you listen to that station, I listen every now and then, you can pick up the way they are going and come across.
Yes.
everything was about Camila Johnson. She was doing so good. And if you followed that station, you were sure that she win already.
Well, let me tell you, I agree with you. Well, I don't know about how the station was positioning it, but I am sure that they were echoing the sentiments coming out of Jamaica House that it was a done deal.
Right. And then they say there were some young people who going on her side and all kind of story and things. But they were building up a PR around the thing, not realizing this is not Jamaica, which is bigger than Jamaica.
Yeah.
And, I realized that sometimes God works things the way it's supposed to go.
All the time.
All the time, brother. Not sometimes. All the time.
All the time.
So that is really my take on the situation.
Thank you for sharing that with us. You're most welcome. You too. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, a blessed morning.
Blessed morning to you also.
Jamaica and beyond. We have so much to say right now, so much things to say. Pull a string and I'll sing you a tune. They are puppets. And just bear with me a while. I want to clear something. There's a caller. Caller, I want you to know today, we preach love, not hate. And if we have a little problem and we can work it out.
Oh, that's another good song.
Brother, we can work it out. And, you listen, the beauty about it? You listen when you come on and you said, no such thing. We could drop that now and move on. I love what I deal with. The Morning Connection, I have no time for go back in the past. Let us move on, brother. If I offend you, I apologize.
Okay, sir.
Amen.
Amen to that.
You understand?
So what's the main point this morning? Because that apology is accepted.
If I had make one go on astray, the Lord forgive. So, brother, it's one love.
Amen.
Anyway, we're moving on to the next one.
Yes.
Robert Nestamagan. I want you to remember that name. Robert Nestamagan. You see these young Turks, they feel they know it all and they have it all. So they do things. Remember this, I hear him on another station and he was glorifying and the host asked him, so he said it's a done deal and him almost said it over. Him almost said it over, but Baroness said to them, she said, why you want to come? No. Leave it alone. I have 2 years leave. Let me do my thing and them never want that. Because them fees say them have it all in the bag. Let me tell you this. I listened the opening comments at that station yesterday.
Yeah.
And you know what him do? Him put the sports and hide it behind the sport. and I way down. Let me tell you, I never get to listen in the morning. I was listening to and then something at a meeting. But I listened it last night late and it's way down at the back. You can't imagine if them did win.
Well, let me tell you, you heard me say yesterday, I am sure that there are people putting away menus and guest lists, and I think it was...
Today, food that did a galore.
I think the celebration was well planned.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. There's a starting of the falling.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. God not like ugly. Play the game fair.
Yeah.
Pastor Percy, it's easy for a man play the game fair, and wait him turn,
True. It is.
Make a sense if they have fight for run to the front. They have their agenda, they have their plan. They start out to do their thing. It's their one, their thing. And when the country come out, them start make it look like say a Commonwealth thing and we're got benefit and all that. No such thing. They know what they are doing. And let me tell you something. You see the Fly Green and the Robert Nestamagan, and you have a couple more, and the country better be careful of these guys, Be careful of these guys.
Well, I like how you say the country better be, but let's personalize it now. You and I need to be careful, because when we remain silent and we don't speak up and we don't try to teach the right principles that should be the foundation of our decision making and our opinions.
When the host ask him, so is a done deal, him almost say yes.
Almost say yes.
Him almost could have said yes, because I'm sure, but listen, if I know that I'm in next in line, why would I want to come with you to come run me out of the race?
Precisely.
Read the play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Read the play.
Listen,
you read the play?
Mature persons who have an understanding of life and who are not confused by ego and who are not delusional understand it. I mean, the moment you announce that you have 27 or 28 votes, you have made the 2 or 3 votes that will give the other side victory very important and easy to find. So even just as a strategy, I would have known what to do. I wouldn't be spending my money traveling all over the world to find 20 people. I would lock in on 3.
Jamaica, that's a penetrate.
Absolutely.
I want to use give you the meaning of penetrate mean to go through.
Yes, easy. It would have cost me less.
Yes, at them I want hook up.
There you go.
Is it at my level or me go ahead?
Or am I ahead? And I only need one to win, as she now knows, rather painfully.
Thank you.
It don't have to be no landslide.
Thank you.
And then, we got it.
What a tangle web they weep. Oh, what a tangle web they weep. When they set out to deceive. But I'm going to tell you something. If they had won, you couldn't hold them today. And next 2 weeks,
there'd be no work.
But we not read the play.
Oh, dear Lord.
We read it.
But, you know, the other point that I want to pull out of you, see if you are of like mind with me. In my assessment of it, I was not concerned about Baroness Scotland. I was looking at the principles of righteousness and justice and good behavior as it applied to our role in CARICOM.
Yeah, that's important.
That was where I started.
Pastor Percy, Jamaica, and let me tell you, Robert Nesta Morgan said she come from good stock. Listen when I say again. He come from good stock.
Is that meant comparatively with his own stock, or what does that mean?
Or how is that
about
her and Johnson?
Her father.
Johnson, yeah, man.
Okay. You, Pastor Percy, I'm going to come up.
Yes.
It's kind of hard for me to on the phone now, but I want you to take time and break it down to the people. Even though you used to go to the North Street School as in KC,
yes.
But you can add other rest to it and make them know why he mentioned that she come from
good stock. Why that would be better stock?
Not? Because she come from good stock.
And why that is better stock than other stock.
You know, we spoke about that.
Yes.
That is
true. You too, my brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, cool.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Blessed morning.
Blessed morning to you too.
How you doing?
Give thanks for the night protection and morning uprising.
Thank you.
Honorable Empress, on the subject of, and Britain, my Lord and Empress, pardon.
Yeah, man.
On the subject of the Constitution.
Yes.
We have a Constitution from creation.
Yes.
Remember Jacob, who changed his name to Israel?
Covenant.
Exodus 35, Genesis 35?
Yes,
yeah, man.
Covenant.
Right. So that Constitution still stands for his children, the children of Israel. That's a true Constitution from creation.
Of course.
The 2 tables of stone written with the finger of God. We don't need no more Constitution. That's our Constitution from creation.
Well, let us put it this way. Any other Constitution must be submitted to the original because, as you know, many of us occupy the earth and we have separated ourselves into different nations. And those who are members of particular nations have covenant amongst themselves. It's not just one covenant.
Sure.
So your constitution is your covenant, is the covenant between you and your brother who live next door to each other.
And that's
but that constitution, and it's what we have been emphasizing here, the Constitution of Jamaica that sets out how Jamaicans should be towards one another must be drawn from that constitution, that covenant which you referred to at the start of your call.
And call interestingly, what that constitution that it speaks about is broken in 2. The first 4 deal with how you relate to God. The next relate how you deal with your brother.
Yes.
There you go. From creation, it was written down in a stone, and my Lord and Empress.
Yes, and it has not changed.
Yeah, and everything, if you look at most constitutions all around the world, it goes back to those basic principles.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep. Including the UN Charter of Human Rights.
Yeah.
There you go. You understand, Empress? But it is all, you see, religions, Empress.
Yes.
All of those religions, they came into Africa, Ethiopia, and started living this spiritual way of life.
Yeah.
Spiritual, right? And they all went back to their country of the ethnic origin. The Indian in painted brown, and call it Islam. The Chinaman in painted yellow, and call it Confucian.
Right.
And the white man in painted white, and call it Christianity.
Yes.
But
it is this. Yes. Yeah.
From creation.
Right. And the journey for us now is to find our way back onto that path that gives us both redemption and reconciliation.
Exactly, Empress. Give thanks.
All right.
Thank you, too.
As we wait for the next caller.
The next caller is here.
It's here.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome.
Hello.
Go ahead and speak.
Yes, hello.
Yes, Malvern.
Yes, the first Christians were not white men, you know.
We know that.
But a lot of black people who love the black race believe that. Them claim to them love the black race and them want the black race to rise up and be equal to everybody else. But them attack like to the first Christian was white man. White man was hero during them days there. The Romans, Caesar was a white man. But the disciples and Christ Jesus wasn't white. They was from Shem.
Why is that occupying your mind now, my brother? Tell me.
What is that?
Why is it occupying your mind now, the color dynamics?
Because I hear that man talk about the white man and the brown man and so on. Look at them.
I see. No, yes, but you let's not miss the fundamentals of what he was saying. He said each tribe took a piece of the same thing and called it their own.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that continues to be so, even amongst the same family of Christians. We break up into all kinds of denominations till we end up with one group that is non-denominational.
Yes.
So that's a habit we have. Ownership. We want to take something and say this is ours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And another thing, speaking of the mother who said her son, she doubts very much that her son is a criminal because
capable of being a gangster.
Of how she knows it.
Yes.
A lot of mothers tend to be like that. A lot. Worldwide, I hear it a lot, I see it a lot. Even when the boy is drowning in blood of his victims, they say that too. I don't know why. I think it's delusion. Just you know, say a murderer's best friend is usually his mother.
So I'm going to ask you this. I don't know if that is true, but I'm going to ask you this. The question I asked Pastor Percival, can you or have you hidden a part of your character completely from someone whom you know loves you?
Yes. Not that character is active, but it's a part.
Yes.
A past part of me.
Yeah. So that today, that person, if they heard that you did so and so or you're so and so, would say, no, not him, not him. And so I put the question to Percy because many mothers, many parents, sometimes they really don't ever see that side of their child, largely because by the time the child leave home, that characteristic no manifest yet. Because some of those characteristics come out of trauma that they suffer while they're on their own. So the mother never even know that this is a turn. And they are careful when they come back in the company of their parents and their loved ones to keep it hidden.
Yes. Sometimes I wonder, though, if it's not deliberate on the mother's part to not
close their eye to it.
Think of the
Yes.
best, yeah.
Yes.
That's happened
I'm
some of the
sure,
time.
because don't we do that too? We see, like we see unexplained wealth. And we sometimes we even benefit from it, but we shy away from asking the hard question of how on earth did you get that? Or they give you some full answer that you wouldn't take from anybody else but your child. And
is that true? That's true. That.
Oh, I was walking and I saw a car and the man threw out a bag of money and sped away. One day your child could tell you that and you say, oh, well, God is good because a man threw out money to you. So yeah, there is that.
And one last thing, that passage you read this morning from King
First
20,
King, yes.
Yes, I noticed and I was a bit disheartened.
Yeah.
The character in the story, the country in the story is Syria.
Yeah.
And Israel were at war with each other.
Yes.
But the version you used didn't mention Syria. It used another name.
Aram.
It's another name for Syria.
Aram.
Well, I didn't know it was another name for Syria. I really didn't. You're saying it is?
Yes,
it is.
I never noticed that all these years. Okay, I have to go check it out.
Come on.
Well, it didn't become Syria until the name...
Recent, but Aram was the name that...
Recent as in our time? You mean recent?
Yeah, because if you go, Malvern, if you go on, if you go on YouVersion, right? There's a version of the Bible. You download it, and then what you can get is different. What is it? The amplified, all of those, and it will help you in terms of explaining some of the terms that we have today, which may have been lost in interpretation. But they go back to the original text. So just download YouVersion on your phone, and then you have about 35 different versions, even the Orthodox Jewish and all of them things, which go back to the original languages. All right?
I thought Syria was an ancient name.
Well, ancient to some might be a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
So you're saying, but it's the one in the King James version, though.
It's what?
Syria.
It's in the King James.
The first time I meet that name is in the King James version.
Yeah. But Syria is not a new name. If you read it and you understand the interplay.
What about
because it was Assyria.
Assyria is different.
Yeah, hold on. You have Assyria, yes, and you have Syria.
Syria is Aram, which was close to where Israel was, and Assyria was further down, because modern day Assyria is where is again.
Yeah, but the whole area in the Mesopotamia was called Assyria, which included what we now know as Syria.
So when Paul was on the road to Damascus, was that Syria?
Yeah.
Yes?
It's easy to find. Okay. I'm actually pulling it up now, some of it. It's easy to find the information about when the name changed and how it got separated. Because the Assyrian Empire was a huge area.
About holy places.
Because there are a lot of people who are jealous and envious and covetous of a people's past.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so they love to change names and rearrange.
Yes,
so
you are so right about that.
Yes. Like one time, some Jamaican people did say Egypt was in the sky and not in Africa because that would give you African pride.
Right.
But,
Man, we have to talk about that one day because you're so right about that. The way in which we mess about with history because we want to change a narrative, and sometimes we steal other people's story to make our own history look better.
Yeah, and we do that then.
Yes. All right. We've gone 2 minutes past the break. But right, thank you for distracting us. Let's take the break.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. See all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales, shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all, you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back to the caller and line. Thank you so much for holding. Good morning.
Morning, Miss Minette.
How are you?
First of all,
Good morning. Sir. How are you?
I'm okay. When I done out my credit, I hold on.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, man. Sorry.
No, not really complain. You know, you make some good points. It was worth it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes. Thank you for being understanding.
Yeah, we have to be nowadays. You know, we have to at least try to make an effort. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very powerful this morning, Miss Minette and Percival. No pastor around here. Oh, no pastor around here. Not my local yard. No pastors around here. Anyway, very, very touching and powerful. You know, most every morning, but especially this morning, you guys touch me because, Miss Minette, when you're talking about when people go through trauma,
yes,
make it through, sometimes they can't even explain.
And I know, as you say it, I remember your story.
Yeah, for real. It's like I can't believe it happens. It's like it never happened.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Franco.
Yeah, I'm telling you, trust me. And sometimes looking back over it, I'm like, how the heck did that?
If you didn't see the scars, you might think you imagined it.
Yeah, exactly. And it because I got good skin, so I heal very good. I hardly have a scar. It's just a little, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You hardly can see the scars. That's the next thing. You know, because I got good skin, I always have good skin. Whenever I get a cut, after a while, it just heals up and disappear. You know what I mean?
As if it never happened. So if you don't, if you don't give your testimony, a man would never know what you've been through.
Never. Sometimes I can't even. I'm like, did it really happen? Was it a movie? Did I dream? It's just sometimes because you know I walk around in selfish. Sometimes my left leg where I got the wound, it hurts me sometimes. You know, like in the wintertime when it's cold.
Yeah.
You know, you sit down for a long time, then you get up, you feel it and stuff. But other than that, I'm telling you. So I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? And I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for the work y'all are doing on this station. I want to thank this station again. The radio needs you guys, okay? I want y'all to know that, all right?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Franco.
Yeah, and I want to send a special love to the producer, the person who answered the phone. Voice sounds very patient and kind. Thank y'all. Here, bless up.
All right. Thank you very much. She's hearing you. Wow. You remember Franco's story? I don't remember the details of it, but gunshot wounds, should have died. Walking today and telling, I tell you, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Neville.
Yeah, morning to your listeners and your valuable callers.
Of which you are the first. You're our biggest valuable caller. What are you saying to me now?
Yeah, Miss Minette, you know that they found 46 dead bodies in an abandoned lorry in Texas last night.
Yes, it was on the news.
People trying to flee poverty.
Yeah. You know, there might be a Jamaican or two in it now that we know about this Mexican crossing thing, which we seem to love so much.
You know that there's